welcome back to my channel. I am back with another Marriage Bootcamp Hip Hop Edition Season 17 review. I did do a review for episode 1, so if you did not see that, please go get all caught up on that. This review is for episode 2, and this episode got really messy really fast, so let's just get right into it because there's so much to discuss. So as you know, if you watched last week's episode, Tahari and Vato were arguing before the episode ended, right before they were going to sleep, because she was still pissed off about what Vato had said about her in his little interview. That got shown to everybody in the house, that he thinks she's a thirst bucket, and she was bothered by that, which she has a reason to be bothered by that. I would be pissed if someone said that to me, especially a guy that I'm in a relationship with. No, absolutely not. So she was confronting him about that, and the two of them continued to argue the next morning when they woke up. I don't know if their relationship is going to work out because they've said some hurtful things to each other already, and the season hasn't even fully started yet. Now, Willie and Shonda were the ones that kind of had a little bit of a breakthrough in last week's episode when they did the whole couples debate challenge, because I feel like they both know what the problems are in their relationship. It's just that they need to kind of let go of the past and decide whether or not they still want to be together and make the relationship work, because they do have children and it is more difficult when there are children involved. I feel like there's hope for the two of them though, and they woke up the next morning and they were discussing past infidelities. I feel like that's something that they're not going to be able to let go of, and it's going to take a lot more than boot camp for them to be able to work that out. But I think that they're making steps in the right direction in order to confront all the issues that they do have with one another. Phaedra and Tahari were having a conversation downstairs in the kitchen right before the challenge began, because Tahari wanted to know why Phaedra's so afraid to move forward in her relationship with Mina, because they had revealed in last week's episode that the two of them have not even had sex yet, and clearly Mina has an issue with that, but Phaedra feels like she's making the right decision by not sleeping with him yet, because she wants to make sure he's with her for the right reasons and that he would be with her for the long run. She had a very public and messy divorce with her ex-husband Apollo, and she just really doesn't want to get into a situation like that again, and so she wants to make sure that the next guy she decides to open herself up to is the right person for her to do that with, and she doesn't know right now if Medina's that person. Hopefully by the end of boot camp she will know whether or not she wants to move forward with Medina. So Dr.Ish ended up pulling everybody into the boot camp room, and he let them know what their challenge is going to be for the day. He splits them up into two groups, the guys with the guys, the women with the women, and they're going to be in separate rooms compiling a list of things that they resent about their partner. And the guys seemed excited to write down everything that they have against their women, okay? So all the guys, which I thought was funny, wrote attitude on their list of resentments towards their women, because they claim that all their women have very bad attitudes and attitudes that they seem to not be able to deal with. And you know, the women were complaining about having to be a mother-like figure to their men, which I thought was funny because it seemed like all the ladies had that issue as well. So I was very interested to see what was the next part of this challenge. So they had to take the list that they wrote and they had to come up with a rap against their partner for it. So they were going to do a rap battle, which is something that they do every season of Marriage Bootcamp. And some of the ladies weren't too happy about having to rap battle their guys because they say that they're not rappers, and so they don't really want to go up against their dudes. So Phaedra was a little bit nervous about it because she's definitely not a rapper. But I was actually interested to hear her rap because, you know, Phaedra can be really funny sometimes. And Tony didn't really want to go up against Corrupt because she felt like he was going to do better than her because of the fact that he's a rapper. So I was definitely interested to see how the raps ended up going, and some of them actually did really good. Now, Tahari and Vato ended up going first, and Tahari did an okay job. She did date some rappers, so I don't think that it would be too hard for her to come up with a rap anyway. But basically, she was calling him out for calling her a thirst bucket, because obviously she's still pissed off about that. And then basically she was telling him that he needs to man up. Now, Vato, he did a really good job, and his was basically about her having walls up with him and how she needs to show that she's as interested in him as she's shown she was as interested in other men, because he doesn't really see the fireworks for him that she's had for other men. And I don't know if that's going to happen because they've been together for a little bit, and if there's still no fireworks, I don't think there's going to be any. Now, Hazel E and Devon ended up going next, and Hazel thought that she was going to do better than Devon because she actually does rap. But Devon actually came through and he did better than she did, and he kind of put her in her place a little bit in the rap because she's constantly treating him like he's a little kid because he's younger than her. She doesn't really treat him like a man. And so basically, he did better than her, in my opinion. His was mainly about her bad attitude in the way that she speaks to him and how much she goes off all the time as if he's her child and not her man. Now, she mentioned a prenup, okay, in her rap, which I thought was like, wow. Like, she really said that she would need a prenup because he talks about marriage sometimes, and she believes that he's only with her for clout. And so, I mean, I agree with her on the prenup thing, though. I think that if you are in a relationship where the two of you do have money and there is a lot of money involved, I would too get a prenup. And if they wouldn't sign the prenup, then you have to question whether or not they're with you for the right reasons. But at the same time, I just thought it was a little bit messy for her to include that inside of the rap. Now, Willie and Shonda ended up going next, and I think that they both did a really good job. His was basically about her attitude and how he wants to feel like he's appreciated in his relationship, and hers was that he needs to make her feel wanted. So in my opinion, I think they both want the same things in their relationship. They're just not giving it to each other, and I don't really think that they listen to each other when they're telling one another their needs. They kind of probably argue a lot rather than actually sit down and talk. So I think that the two of them did a really good job at their rap, though. Now, Phaedra and Medina ended up going next, and theirs was pretty funny. His was basically about not being able to get any sex from Phaedra and her taking him for granted, and Phaedra's was wanting to know if he's a ride or die for her, and she was actually surprised at how good Medina did in the rap battle, and she seemed to actually be impressed and a little bit turned on by the fact that he rapped so well, so maybe he will end up getting some at some point before marriage boot camp is over. Now, Corrupt and Tony ended up going last, and I was actually surprised at how bad Corrupt did. He really didn't do a good job. He really seemed to not put any effort into it, and everybody seemed surprised because some of the people who are in the marriage boot camp house are actually fans of Corrupt and his music. So he basically did his rap about how Tony is always in a pissy mood all the time, and her attitude is always bad, and hers was about his drinking problem. They have a lot of issues, and I don't know if they're going to make it after marriage boot camp is over, because they can barely get past a whole day without the two of them getting into it for some reason. The reason why they decided to do this challenge about resentment is because that has caused a lot of problems in relationships, because a lot of the times you resent your partner for something and it never gets addressed, and so it turns into even more resentment and it ends up ruining the relationship. And so I think that it was a good thing that they did this challenge. I think some couples will benefit from it, but I also think that some couples will crumble because of the challenge. Now, the couples were all outside by the pool, except for Vato. He was somewhere off on his own relaxing, and Tahari had unbuttoned her shirt a bit, and she had like a bralette on underneath it, and you can kind of see her nipples through it. And so basically, Hazel E had an issue with Tahari unzipping her shirt because she felt like it was inappropriate to do that in front of all the other ladies' men, and so she ended up confronting Tahari about it. Now, Tahari and Hazel kind of got into a little bit of an argument because Tahari didn't understand why Hazel was so bothered by her doing that. She wasn't trying to get any of the men's attention, and it kind of seemed like to Tahari that Hazel E was a little bit insecure and felt like maybe Devon would be staring at her, bralette. Now, they tell Hazel that she shouldn't really be talking about what Tahari was wearing because she was wearing a wrestling suit, and I was literally dying because Phaedra literally called it a Rowdy Roddy Piper outfit, and I was dead. I was like, this is why I needed Phaedra on this season, because when I need a good laugh, Phaedra always comes through. Now, Hazel ends up walking away from the ladies because she feels like they're kind of ganging up on her a bit, and she goes and tells Vato about Tahari unbuttoning her shirt, and Vato was really pissed off about it because he said that's the reason why he called her a thirst bucket in the first place, is because it's like she's always trying to get attention from other men. I don't think that that was Tahari's intention for unbuttoning her shirt a little bit. I think it's because it was hot outside. Do I think that she should have done that in front of all those other men? No, but at the same time, I think Hazel E blew it out of proportion. And I also think it was distasteful for Hazel E to go over to Vato and, you know, tell him that Tahari unbuttoned her shirt, because it kind of makes it look like she's trying to start trouble in somebody else's relationship in the house. Now, Dr.Ish ends up pulling all the couples into the backyard, and in the backyard, there is a setup for the next part of this challenge. There are 5 walls set up, okay, 1 for each couple, and on the walls is written the list of things that they resent about their partner, and they have to take a hammer and smash through the things that they resent about their partner that they would like to tackle in their relationship first. Now, it seemed to be going well so far. All the couples did it without a problem, and then it came down to Corrupt and Tony ended up smashing through their wall, but then once it was Corrupt's turn to do it, he got very aggressive and he took his glove off, which Dr.Ish specifically told him, do not take your gloves off when you're throwing the hammer, and you weren't supposed to throw the hammer, you were just supposed to smash the wall, okay? He took the hammer and he flung it through the wall, and that could have actually hurt somebody, and so production had to come out and even check Corrupt, because they told him that he couldn't do anything like that, and he did it anyway. I don't know if the marriage boot camp house is a good place for Corrupt to be, because it seems like he's getting worse and he's not getting any better, and it was just, I could tell that Tony was really embarrassed about the whole situation, and I just don't know. I don't think that the two of them are going to work out, and I honestly, at this point, I don't think that they should stay together, because it seems like there's no fixing what's already broken with them. Now, they get to look at the back of the wall, and in the back of each wall, it has a picture of each couple on it, and they could see what was smashed out in their picture. So basically, Phaedra was trying to put her picture back together again, which I thought was funny. Shonda started crying when she saw their picture, because both of their hearts were smashed out, but her smile was still there, and she basically said that she is not happy in the relationship, but she pretends to be, and so it resonated with her seeing that the hearts were gone, but her smile was still present. Now, Hazel and Devon's picture was gone, okay? If that picture was gone, and if she doesn't stop worrying about his age difference, then it's not going to work out, because, you know, she chose him knowing that he was a lot younger than her. Now, Corrupt ended up throwing the hammer right through his own picture, and he basically starts going off about how Tony doesn't treat him like a man, and I was wondering whether or not he was drunk, because it just seemed like every day so far, and this is only day 2, that he's drinking and acting a fool during a challenge. So I honestly don't know what's going to happen with the two of them, but Dr.Ish ends up pulling Corrupt to the side to talk, and he basically tells him that he needs to figure out what he's going to do about his drinking, because he was sober for almost 2 months, and he even admits that when he was sober for almost 2 months, there was barely any arguing between him and Tony. And Dr. Ish says that because he's worked with people who have addiction problems, that he knows that he can't just tell Corrupt to stop drinking, because it's not going to happen cold turkey like that, but he did limit Corrupt down to only drinking beer. So hopefully that helps a little bit, because he's going to have to get his drinking under control. Otherwise, he's going to lose his wife. So after the challenge was over, Vato decides to confront Tahari about what Hazel E told him, you know, about Tahari unbuttoning her shirt a little bit, and you could see her nipples through her bralette in front of the other men in the house. Now, he was pissed off about it, and he basically said that Hazel E was looking out for him by letting him know what happened. Now, Tahari felt otherwise, and she felt like that Hazel E was just being messy, and I honestly think that he shouldn't have said to Tahari that he felt like Hazel E was having his back. That's not Hazel E's job to have Vato's back. That's Tahari's job to have Vato's back. And I felt like, you know, Hazel E could care less about Tahari showing off her bralette. I feel like she just wanted to cause trouble in somebody else's relationship rather than focusing on her own, because she's been in drama ever since the season started, and this is only episode 2. So I honestly don't think she was trying to have his back, and I honestly think that if she doesn't want people getting involved in her relationship with Devon, she should probably stay out of Tahari's relationship with Vato. So they end up going into the boot camp room so that Judge Toller can talk to them about everything that's taken place throughout these challenges, and she addresses each couple individually. She goes to Devon and Hazel first, and she basically tells them that she feels like Devon does love Hazel and that Hazel needs to learn to look past his age because she chose to be with a guy who was a lot younger than her. And so the fact that she treats him like he's a little boy makes no sense, because if you felt like he was a little boy, then why did you get in a relationship with him to begin with? Which I agree with Judge Toller on that one. She goes on to Willie and Shonda, but she basically addresses Willie and lets him know that your daughter will live the life that you give your wife. And he got emotional because he loves his daughter and he doesn't want his daughter to be in a relationship with somebody who's like him the way that he is in the relationship with Shonda. And so I think that he knows that that's something he needs to work on, and I hope he actually does work on it because it's unhealthy for the kids to see. Now, she ends up going on to Tony and Corrupt, and she tells them that they need to work on themselves individually before they can work on themselves together, because each of them have their own issues that they need to work on. Now, Tony doesn't believe that she has any issues that she needs to work on, which is untrue. She definitely has some issues that she needs to work on, because if Corrupt is so bad, which is the way we see him on this show so far, there has to be something off about her that she chooses to stay in the relationship with him, and Corrupt needs to work on his alcohol problem and his anger. She goes on to Phaedra and Medina and tells Phaedra that she seems to be fearless, but she actually does have a lot of fear because she won't move forward in the relationship with Medina, and that if she doesn't take the leap of faith with Medina, she's going to end up losing him at some point. Phaedra's going to have to decide whether or not she wants to stay stuck on what happened with her and Apollo, or if she wants to move on and take a chance. Now, they go on to Tahari and Vato, and basically she addresses Vato and tells Vato that because he doesn't see fireworks with Tahari because he saw her be very interested in other men that she's dated in the past, he seems to be insecure, and she basically tells him that he needs to man up. And it's true, because some of the things that Vato complains about is like petty to me. It's like, just because she had fireworks with the other guys she's dated and you don't really see that with you doesn't mean that you should keep bringing it up as if you're jealous of her past relationships. So for me, that's definitely something he needs to work on. But Tahari also needs to work on the way that she speaks to him, because she kind of talks to him like he's a little kid too. And it's kind of like a mother and son relationship, which I see throughout this season of Marriage Boot Camp so far. So after they finished having a conversation with Judge Toller, Tahari and Hazel E decide to have a conversation about the disagreement that they had earlier in the day. And basically, Tahari tells Hazel that she was the only person who had an issue with her unbuttoning her shirt and showing off her bralette. And basically, Tahari also told Hazel E that she doesn't care what Hazel wears because she doesn't feel threatened by Hazel in any way, shape, or form. And that the only reason why Hazel would have a problem with what she did was because she felt like Devon was going to look at her, which I agree. I feel like she had a problem with Tahari unbuttoning her shirt a bit because she didn't want Devon looking at her, and at the same time she wanted to try to cause some type of issue between Vato and Tahari when they already have issues themselves. To me, it was messy for her to go to Vato instead of just leaving the situation alone after she already talked to Tahari about it. Now, Vato jumps in and he defends Hazel, which I think was wrong. If he was going to defend Hazel, he should have defended her privately, not in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? He should be having Tahari's back in the situation, not Hazel E's. That's Devon's job to have Hazel's back. But Phaedra ended up jumping in, okay? And she basically said that Hazel had no business going to Vato about the situation because that causes trouble in people's relationships, and everybody in the house already has problems, and that's just increasing the problems that the couple has, which I agree with Phaedra on that. And she said that if the women have any problem with the other women in the house, they should go to each other about it, not go to other people's men. And so because Hazel felt attacked, she ended up walking away again because she felt like all the ladies were against her in that situation. But I think that Phaedra was absolutely correct, and I don't think that it was right for Hazel to go to Vato. Now, Willie and Shonda end up going to their room, and they notice that some of the big stickers that they have on their wall, because they have really big stickers that are text messages from them cheating on each other with other people, and it's on their wall, and they notice that some of them are missing, and so they feel like maybe it got taken down because they made some type of progress in their relationship during today's challenge. And so I think that that's a good thing, and I think that they are making good steps in order to make their relationship better, and I hope that they continue because they are married and they also have children. So I hope that the two of them are able to work things out and at least be able to be honest with each other while they're in the marriage boot camp house, because there is some type of help that they have there, and I feel like they should take advantage of the help that they're being given. So at the very end of this episode, Tony ends up coming downstairs, seeing that Corrupt is up really late drinking, and some of the other castmates are up with him, and she has an issue with it because he doesn't need to be staying up drinking, and she feels like with other people staying up with him while he drinks, it makes it seem like they're encouraging the behavior. And so she basically told him that he needed to stop drinking and go upstairs and go to bed, and Corrupt got pissed off about that because he felt like she was talking to him like he was a little boy and not a grown-ass man, and so he was pissed off about that. And I don't think that that was Tony's intentions, but she just didn't want him staying up drinking because she knows how he gets when he drinks, and she knows that he has a drinking problem. And so I just don't know about the two of them. I don't even know if they're going to make it to the end of boot camp because this is only day 2 and they're still fighting. So the episode cut there. So that was the end of episode 2. I thought it was a pretty good episode, and I'm definitely interested to see what happens in the next episode because it gets really ugly between 2 of the castmates. So let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you are notified whenever I upload. Thank you to all my subscribers for the support. I appreciate you all, and until next time, I will see you guys in my next video.